Hey, it's NPR's Book of the Day. I'm Andrew Limbong. Anyone who follows the business behind books and publishing knows that the industry would be a complete economic mess if not for romance. The genre is the main pillar on which the rest of the industry stands, and that's only gotten more true in the past 5 years or so. So we're going to wrap our pre-Valentine's week with a couple of roundtable discussions with contemporary romance authors about what makes the genre work, how it's changed, and tips on writing good sex scenes. First up is an interview taped on Valentine's Day 2022 between Here and Now Celeste Headlee and two big names in the romance industry, Helen Hoang and Emily Henry. In a lot of ways, the discussion is a defense of the genre, an argument for why you shouldn't dismiss it based on its popular appeal and how it can be the perfect vehicle to examine, quote-unquote, more serious themes. That's after the break.
This message comes from Whole Foods Market. From big game bites to sideline sips, get everything you need for a watch party victory at Whole Foods Market. Find yellow sale signs all over the store, from the chip aisle, with salty snacks from Kettle and Late July, down to the meat department, where their no antibiotics ever fresh sausages are made in-house. And gear up with effortless, ready-to-heat wings and fresh guacamole from the prepared foods department. Instant touchdown. Fuel your game day with big flavors from Whole Foods Market.
This message comes from Instacart, who helps you get what you need fast. Like when the watch party at your place finally makes it out of the group chat. Suddenly, you need snacks, drinks, and all the things nobody planned for. With Instacart, you can get groceries and party essentials delivered. Just download the app, place your order, and it shows up in as fast as 30 minutes. That way, hosting feels easy, and it looks like you had a plan all along. Get the Instacart app today and get game day deals.
Today is Valentine's Day, and we just wanted to take a little trip to the wonderful world of romantic fiction. Romance novels are often dismissed as cheesy, but the genre has provided a much-needed escape to many bookworms, especially during the pandemic. And in between the stolen glances and the witty banter are actually thoughtful discussions of everything from dating with a disability to sex and consent. Joining us now to help us fall a little more in love with love is New York Times bestselling author Helen Hoang. She's the author of The Kiss Quotient and its two spin-off novels, The Bride Test and The Heart Principle. Welcome to the show, Helen.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And we're also joined by Emily Henry, another New York Times bestseller. Her novels Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation are adored by romance lovers everywhere. So welcome to the show, Emily.
Thanks, Celeste.
Before I make the assumption that the two of you like Valentine's Day, is that true? Let me go to you first, Emily. Is it required that a romance writer like Valentine's Day?
I think I'm actually sort of Valentine's Day agnostic. I think when you're a year-round romantic, maybe Valentine's Day loses a little bit of its weight, or maybe that's just me.
What about you, Helen?
I like Valentine's. I have a flower farm, so Valentine's is our best-selling season of the year. So for that reason, I like it.
That's really such a fitting, appropriate other job for a romance writer. But for many people, we are, like myself, we're well-versed with the tropes of romance novels. You're traveling, there's only one bed. I'm an enemy and I hate you, and then I kind of start to like you, and then I fall in love with you. What do you think about these kind of tropes, either leaning into them or in some cases subverting them, Helen?
So for me, when it's time to write a book, I definitely don't think about romance novels in terms of I'm going to write this trope or I want to read this trope. I mostly want to write and read things that I feel are exciting in the moment. And so I do often really like to see things that are twisted and subverted.
Also, I always wonder about some of the difficulties involved in writing romance novels. I don't think they're as easy to write as some people may assume. I think about some of the physical intimacy that you have to describe, and that can get awkward really fast. I mean, you have to be a good writer. And I wonder, Emily, if you can talk about the sort of challenge of describing an intimate moment.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I think the thing about writing romance is I don't think romance novels are embarrassing. I need to say that right off the bat. Obviously, I love them. But I think that writing them, there is an innate vulnerability, because falling in love is kind of an embarrassing experience. You don't really want people witnessing it. Like it's embarrassing. There's so much awkwardness, so much tension. And I think when I'm writing that, it's like the one time in the drafting process that I really have to convince myself no one will ever read this, because otherwise I'm coming out of the moment too much and I'm thinking too much about how it will be received instead of really trusting the characters and trying to make them as vulnerable as possible. But yeah, it's like, it truly is an experience where I am like looking at my screen through my fingers at certain points, just being like, no one's going to read it. No one's going to read it.
Although that is not true. You're lying.
It's not true. Ideally, it's not true, but
right. And it hasn't been true for your career, but both of you. One of the reasons we wanted to talk to you about this is both of you weave in these deeper themes about family, who is family, family bonds, grief, loss. Those are woven into the romantic stories that you tell, and I wonder, Helen, how important is it to include sort of deeper themes as opposed to writing a straight up fluffy or lighter tale of a relationship?
So I started reading romance in 8th grade, and for a long time it was all that I wanted to read, and so I can genuinely say that I love romance. But as I've been writing it, it's become really important to me to make it deeper, because it's my work and it's my life's work, and I want it to have more depth than only being about people falling in love. I want it to be about people growing, about people experiencing different facets of life.
Emily, did you also grow up reading romance?
I did not. I was a late bloomer when it comes to romance. And I have to say that it was kind of, Helen and other contemporaries of ours or of hers, because she started a few years before me. But like Jasmine Guillory and Helen Hoang were the two names that kind of paved the way to have those deeper conversations in your books and to have a romance that hinges on something more than just the romantic love.
So, Helen, this genre has long been dominated by white authors. And until quite recently, most of the stories themselves were about white, straight, neurotypical people falling in love, very often described as beautiful people. So it seemed kind of revolutionary when your debut novel, The Kiss Quotient, centered Stella, who's an Asian American woman who has autism. That's something you share with her. And she is the heroine of your story. And I wonder what that was like for you. It's not always easy to be the first. I wonder what it was like for you to both write that story and then support that book. So,
I didn't understand, I think, initially that it was, that I was doing something new. I just had an idea that felt very organic to me, and it was exciting. And so I wrote it that way. And it wasn't until I was done and I was putting the book out there that people were telling me things like, I don't know if you're crazy because you wrote an autistic heroine and a prostitute for a hero, or if you're a genius. And I just never had, I didn't realize that those were wild things to do until it was done. I've been very proud of what I've been able to do in terms of representing autistic people, representing Asian people, and getting them out there, especially in this day and age when the political climate is just so difficult for people, especially Asians. I think during COVID, it's been hard.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a tough time, if there ever was an easy time to be an Asian American. But also, Emily, there is some prejudice against the genre itself, and it's seen as something which is sort of not real literature. And it's made fun of as like for, women who don't want to read Tolstoy or something. Where do you see romance's place as women's literature or its place in women's arts?
Well, I think, looking back on the history of women making art, our world has historically been different from a man's world. And so women's art has often been seen as like domestic. And that's been used against us for all time and kind of used to denigrate what we make. But it's such just a joy and a relief to realize that the things that we spend so much time thinking about and that really matter to us are valuable, and that the pieces of a very small life are worth exploring, and that's the life that most of us live. Most of us, we're not living Anna Karenina at this point. We are having these small, intimate experiences, and I don't know. I just find it kind of revolutionary, first to give that its due and to write, stories that center women's experiences, but beyond that, it's also revolutionary to say that women's pleasure is not embarrassing. And as someone who was a late bloomer with romance readership, that was a huge revelation to me, to realize there's a reason that we have been told to look down on these things and to treat them as silly and superfluous. And I don't know, it's just kind of powerful to give that the value that I think it's due.
So before we let you go, understanding that, of course, both of you would recommend your own books, but maybe you could give us one romance novel besides your own that you would recommend for our readers who want to curl up with a really good tale of love on this Valentine's Day. Helen?
I'll go first, sure. I have recently been reading Chloe Lee's books. Several of them feature characters who are on the autism spectrum. They're really fun, and there's a lot of depth to them. So I wholeheartedly recommend them.
Awesome. And Emily?
I would recommend Denise Williams' The Fastest Way to Fall. It has a plus-size heroine, and it's very body positive and sweet and funny, and it's definitely the kind of book that will just obliterate all of your stress and make you warm and fuzzy, which we could all use.
Absolutely. That was Emily Henry, best-selling author of Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation. Her next novel, Book Lovers, is out this May. And Helen Hoang, best-selling author of the Kiss Quotient series. Thanks so much to both of you, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's to you, too.
This message comes from Schwab. Everyone has moments when they could have done better, like cutting their own hair or forgetting sunscreen, so now you look like a tomato. Same goes for where you invest. Level up and invest smarter with Schwab. Get market insights, education, and human help when you need it. Learn more at schwab.com.
This message comes from Mint Mobile. Starting at $15 a month, make the switch at mintmobile.com/switch. $45 upfront payment for 3 months. 5 gigabyte plan equivalent to $15 a month. Taxes and fees extra. First 3 months only. See terms.
Unlike a lot of the writers we've heard from this week, Beverly Jenkins is best known for her historical romances. On top of that, she's been writing romance for decades, since the 90s, so she brings a lot of long-term perspective to this discussion. She's joined by Jasmine Guillory, who was on the pod earlier this week, and Ali Hazelwood, author of the book The Love Hypothesis. This was actually taped in 2024 in front of a crowd of romance fans at WBUR CitySpace, moderated by Here Now's Kalyani Saxena. Here's Kalyani.
I'm glad that we're all here talking about romance, and it seems like we've got a lot of romance fans here. Can you confirm? Yeah. But I feel like maybe a few years ago, it didn't always feel like this was something people could be excited openly about. But things have started to shift in recent years, and I'm curious what that has been like from your perspective, and if you kind of have any stories where people have maybe not exactly sneered, but been like, "Oh, you write romance?" So, Jasmine, why don't we start with you?
I've definitely had people ask me, not quite in these words, but sort of like, when are you going to write a real book? And But like, yes, there is definitely some sneering towards romance, but I just don't care. I mean, it's just, right? Like, because like people who love romance are the most fun. So why should I spend my time like trying to convince someone, no, you should really eat chocolate instead of eating celery all day long? Like, chocolate tastes good. Have you tried it? Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to try it. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry you hate fun. But Beverly, I know there's a story. I think you were at a Miami book fair and someone said something to you.
Yeah,
and you really had the ultimate takedown.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have to hear it.
I was at the Miami Book Fair, and if anybody's ever been there, it's just a fabulous, fabulous event. Well, the host provided us a little van, and there's a woman there who says, "Well, what do you write?" And I said, "Romance." Oh. I said, "And what do you write?" "I write literature." Really? I said, "So, how many books you got in print?"
Bet she didn't want to answer that.
She turned bright red. And we never heard from Miss Literature again for the rest of the ride. Thank you very much.
One of the things that we have to talk about is, well, we don't have to, but I want to. We have to talk about, as the people say, spice in romance, or we could just say sex. And romance novels, I feel like, are some of the only places where you can read sex scenes from the perspective of a woman. And I'm curious about your perspective, having written those scenes and maybe seen the reader's responses to that. Beverly, do you want to start?
It's basically the only genre where women get to decide their own sexuality, where we get to embrace our own sexuality. And that's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
Which is why a whole lot of people hate it. They say, well, romance makes you, it's unrealistic. Mm-hmm. What is unrealistic about wanting a partner who supports your dreams?
Yeah.
Who walks with you and not in front of you or behind you? I think we're doing pretty good,
Yeah.
I think we're doing okay.
Yeah. What about you, Jasmine? What do you think about when you are crafting those kinds of scenes?
For me, they really are about like where characters are in the moment in their relationship. This is a story about two people falling in love with one another. And so how are the sex scenes a part of that? And I think it's also fun to show women having pleasure and embracing that and not being ashamed of it.
What about you, Ali? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything, but I also think that sometimes the sex scenes are just there for the smile, and I'm totally okay with it.
Give you filth.
Well, I want to talk about diversity. I feel like we have to kind of tackle the elephant in the room, or not tackle, but maybe gently romance into submission. The genre is, and has been for a long time, a space for whiteness, and was written by white authors and consumed by white readers. And we still don't have many Black historical romance writers.
No,
we don't. And so
in
the we need you.
Well, not really. We have Vanessa now.
Are there ways that you really wish things would change still?
Need more diversity in editorial.
Yeah. I think, yes. I mean, I think the writers are there. It's really on the publishing side, having people for whom this is not they're not saying well, I don't know where we would sell this to, or, because it's editorial, but also the sales team and the marketing team and the publicity team who both know how to sell the books, but also care about the books in the same way.
And on the editorial side, I had a copy editor. I had the phrase was putting something on the down low. Mm. We all know what that means, keep it secret, whatever. Mm. And the copy editor wrote bad grammar.
Oh.
You should say,
Right.
put it on the low shelf.
Put it on the low shelf.
How about I don't say that? And I wrote in the margin, reason number 865, we need more people of color in editorial.
We have a couple questions about craft, actually. Okay, I know writing in general, there's people who really like to outline, and I really love to outline. And there are writers who are pantsers, and Beverly, I think you might be one of them.
I may have a kernel of a story or a kernel of a character, and if I have to outline, and it's like all the energy for me is gone from the story. So for me, it's organic. I like not knowing what's going to happen on the next page, just like the reader.
Okay, I have a question about that, though. You do a ton of research for your books. So how do you like sort of write and then go back and do the research? Or
that's a good
how does
question.
that...
I research as I go because, I'm following the characters, right? And they're going through my head into the swamps of Texas. And I'm like, are there swamps in Texas?
Well, are there?
And there were.
There were.
Okay, well, there we go.
And it was a part of the story that I didn't even know we were going there. And one of the main characters was in that swamp.
Yeah. What about you, Ali? What's your writing style, your craft?
I am, and this is not my term. I wish I could claim this term, but I can't. I am a panty liner, which means that...
Not the panty liner.
So the idea of the panty liner is that you have some kind of outline, but then you feel it. It's the perfect term.
I love it. See what happens when you hang around with romance writers.
Well, one of the questions we've been getting, and this is one I've been saving for the end, I'm curious for each of you what your favorite trope to read is and what your favorite trope to write is, because those might be two different things. Ali, we'll start with you.
I really like fated mates, which I know a lot of people hate insta-love, but I really, really like when there is some kind of, things that is bigger than the couple that kind of pushes them together. Mm-hmm. And I've really enjoyed, I only wrote it once for traditional publishing, and I really enjoyed it. And I enjoy reading it, so.
Yeah.
I love fake dating. I mean, just love it. As I have written a few books that involve fake dating, including my first, and I think it's so fun. And I love to read it and write it, but I also really love to read A Marriage of Convenience.
Oh,
and they
yes.
fall in love. Oh, the best.
And it's the best, too, because you can fit in so many other tropes.
Yeah.
Like, they're married for convenience and they hate each other.
Yeah.
Or they're married for convenience and they've been childhood friends. You
Yeah.
know, like, it's
So
like
many
the
other
Russian
things.
doll of tropes. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
Yeah.
What
I
about
love
you,
it.
Beverly?
Marriage of Convenience.
Yes.
I read them, I write them, I love them.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And we have one more thing for tonight. It is actually Beverly Jenkins' birthday today.
Oh my goodness!
This is what 73 looks like.
Thank you for spending your birthday with us. Thank you all for spending Beverly's birthday with us.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. We really have had a great time.
And that's it for this week on NPR's Book of the Day. If you want more, you can sign up for our newsletter at npr.org/newsletter/books. I'm Angel Limbong. The podcast is produced by Chloe Weiner and Ivy Buck and edited by Megan Sullivan and Sierra Crawford. Our founding editor is Petra Mayer. Yolanda Sanguini is our executive producer. Thanks for listening.
This message comes from Mint Mobile. This holiday season, stop overpaying for wireless and switch to Mint. Shop 50% off unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/switch. Limited time offer. Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12 months. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Above 35 gigabytes, network may slow when busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com.
This message comes from Prolon. Feeling heavy and depleted after the holidays? Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet aims to make it easy to reset your body, habits, and energy heading into the new year. Developed at USC's Longevity Institute, the goal of Prolon's nutrition program is to rejuvenate you from within by working at the cellular level to support fat loss, glowing skin, and sharper focus. Get 15% off plus a bonus gift when you subscribe at prolonlife.com/NPR.